only liked long hair, and then we broke up. So I was like,
Ah.
go chop it off.
No, I mean, he loves me anyway, but I'm just saying. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to press record on this call really quick here. And there we go. So welcome, everybody. As you guys can tell, we are so not fancy people. I didn't get dressed up for y'all, and I didn't even put makeup on today. So I promise I still care about this call, and I still love you guys. But this is the real right here. Corbin has been super fussy all day, and so just never got ready. I never even showered. So there we go. But yeah, so my name is Caroline Foster, and I am the mama bear, which basically everyone's like, what does that even mean? It just means that I am kind of, everyone here is upline to some degree, whether I'm their upline's upline or, whatever. I'm their grandmother in the business, and kind of the founder of our team, Fit for His Glory. So I have been a coach for 6.5 years. A little background on my story. I worked in corporate America before becoming a coach. I worked for 10 years for Red Bull North America, managing all of their collegiate marketing program in Middle and East Tennessee. And I, about 2 or 3 years into marriage, Brian and I have been married for 7 years. So I actually guess it was only like 6 months in. We sat down one day and we were kind of just talking about like, what is your dream job? And we're such dreamers. Like we both just have like entrepreneurial minds. Like we are always thinking about like, oh, it'd be cool to start this company or that company, or like, we're just kind of always dreaming. And so we were chatting one night and just talking about like, what is my dream job? And a little background on me, I kind of have to share this story in order to share the bigger story. So I was not like a high school athlete. I was actually in theater, and I was in all those school plays. And I did play sports like all growing up through like up to middle school. But I was a chicken and didn't try out for high school basketball. And so I just gave up and pursued theater. And so growing up, like especially in high school, like I didn't get a lot of like workouts or just a lot of activity in general besides PE classes. And so I kind of started noticing my junior year that I was like gaining weight. I was drinking a lot of Mountain Dews from the school like vending machines. Of course, nowadays they don't even have Cokes and vending machines in schools, but I was drinking a lot of Mountain Dew, and I was eating a lot of the Otis Spunkmeyer. I don't know if you guys remember those from your high school days. A lot of those chocolate chip cookies. Okay. And so I was just not healthy. And I would literally, my mom would pack me a healthy lunch, and I cringe now sharing this, but I would throw it away and I would buy cookies and drink Mountain Dew. That is so bad, so wasteful, but high school versions of ourselves, we don't really thinking through things. So I just started to notice my junior year, senior year, like I was definitely starting to gain weight. And so I just started walking on the treadmill. And then I graduated from that and started going to Curves, which always makes everyone laugh. But I don't know if you know of Curves. My grandmother went to Curves, and she was like, you should come with me to Curves. And I was like, let's do it, Nana. I loved it because it was judgment-free zone. Like for real, it was women only. There was no guys there checking you out while you're working out. Like I felt like the fittest one in the room because every woman in there was like 30 or 40 and above, and I'm like this high school girl. So, but y'all, I fell in love with fitness there. Like I lost 15 pounds there. I was doing the meal plan. I was all in. And so, went to college. My goal was to not gain the freshman 15 like every other person, and stayed healthy. I actually lost 15 pounds, but was at a really healthy place. And I really fell in love with fitness then. And my roommate was, she went on to be a personal trainer. And so we would just make up workouts together and go to our like athletic center on campus. And it was so fun. So after college, I started kind of going to like the local gym here and got really into Body Pump and Body Attack. If you know anything about Les Mills programs, I just loved them. And so my plan was to become a Body Pump coach and instructor. And so Brian's asked me about my dream job at dinner this night, again, about a year into marriage. And I'm like, I love like, I love Les Mills. I really want to become a body pump instructor. But like, I also have this dream of going into women's ministry. And I had looked into like seminary. I looked into some ministry jobs at my church. We had a women's minister, and then they had an associate. So I had like looked into that. So I just knew I had a heart for women. And so he's like, well, what if you kind of mesh the two? And I was like, actually, I've been thinking about that. But he's like, have you really seen that done anywhere? And I was like, not really, besides this one girl I follow on Instagram. And he's like, well, who is she? And so I start talking about her, and he was like, well, why don't you just like message her and see if she could set up a call, and you could just kind of pick her brain. Like, how did she start her business? How did she get this thing going? So I had seen this girl on Instagram. The thing that I really loved about her was she was kind of that one step ahead in life, right? Like, me and Brian had just gotten married, but she had 2 boys, and they'd been married for a little bit, and she's working out in her bonus room with her kids. Just literally toys were everywhere. I loved that about her because she didn't try to make it perfect. Like, this was the real, back in the day when people didn't use filters on Instagram. So I loved that about her. And I messaged her, and of course she was like the nicest person ever. Actually, I should say I reluctantly messaged her because Brian was like, I was like, I can't do that. She's Insta famous. And he was like, Caroline, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you're at no right now. So the worst that can happen is that she says no when you ask to set up a call. And I was just like, man, why you gotta be right? So I did it, and she was the nicest person ever. And we set up a call and talked to that next day. And right then and there on the phone, I had never done a Beachbody program, really didn't know anything about it, but I signed up as a coach. I bought the T25 challenge pack, but then they were having like some holiday sale at the time, and I bought Body Pump because at the time they had Les Mills programs, Beachbody did. And so I turned around and bought that on sale because Body Pump was my jam. So I'm like, now I can do it from home. I'm not like burdened by going to group classes. And it was the best decision I've ever made besides marrying my husband and my salvation, of course. But the best decision as far as my career goes. So I just experienced so much freedom in my health and fitness journey through Beachbody programs and platforms. And I mean, even more so to this day. Before that, my whole day revolved around going to the gym because there was only certain times that they had classes, and you'd have to get there like 30 minutes before to get your spot because the bars and everything would be gone. And so you had to claim your spot, and then you did your hour-long workout, and then you had a 30-minute drive back home. And I worked from home, but I had to make up that time. So it was like really stressful. I was like, is someone gonna call me from work while I'm here? Like, it wasn't fun because I was so stressed, And so this for me created so much freedom. Like, all of a sudden I can do my group fitness class whenever I want to during the day. And if I wake up late one morning, I'm not panicking and have to skip my Bible study because I have to get to Gold's Gym and get my spot, right? Like, so I realized how obsessed I was, and how like literally everything was revolving around that. And so it has just been so cool to see how God has worked through this business. And I signed up. I'll be totally honest, the first 2 years, I had no idea what I was doing. First 3 years, really. My upline is incredible, but she was kind of stepping out of the business when I was stepping in. And so I didn't have like a really active team like we have here. I didn't have resources. I didn't have calls like this. I didn't have a new coach mentorship. Like, I literally taught myself this entire business. Like, I watched YouTube video after YouTube video, and I knew that I had something. And to be quite honest with you, when I look back, the reason I think I didn't give up is because I didn't want for other people to be right. So all those people who were skeptical of network marketing companies and who thought when I told them I was doing this, oh, that'll never pan out, I kind of wanted to prove them wrong. And I honestly think, looking back, I was thinking about this today, I just think that was a big part of, like, call it pride, call it, just like focusing on my why. Like, I knew I could. And I looked around and I thought, if all of these girls can do it, why can't I? Like, I went to Michelle's house and I had dinner with her, and her family is normal. They're just like everyone else. Like, sure, she has a platform and her husband's been to seminary, but like, nothing makes them special. you know? And so I just set out to kind of pave a path and try to make this business as duplicatable as possible. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about trying to make this business as easy as possible for all of my new coaches, because I didn't have that. It's kind of like when you have a kid and like you didn't have certain experiences as children, you're like, now I have to do all those things with my kid. So fast forward, I have been working this business as a side hustle for the past 6.5 years. And this past February, I left my full-time job and I'm a full-time coach after having my second little boy. So I didn't really say much about that, but we live right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And I've been married for 7 years and we have 2 kids. My little girl, Emmeline, is 4. Are almost 4 in November. And then my son Corbin he just turned 1 like last Monday. So in February, I left my full-time job after going back to work for 6 weeks just to kind of like pay my dues after having maternity leave, and left my full-time job. And now I'm a full-time coach. And I have tripled my corporate income as a coach with Beachbody. And because for me, I couldn't stay home. If like my husband, like I love him, he's amazing, but he's had a lot of career changes. And so there was just no way financially I would be able to stay home if it was not for Beachbody. And so for me, that was a massive why, because if you ask me like, what is your biggest dream? My dream has always been to be a mom. Like from the moment I was like a little girl, like being a mom and being a wife, that's all I ever wanted to do. And so for me, like that was my fuel every day as I put in the work and put in the time. And that's why I wanted to show up and give my best. And so leaving my job was that was just the coolest moment ever. And being able to be here with my kids and have the flexibility to, if my son's sick, just to be able to say, you know what, it's cool. I mean, I don't have to work today. Like I can make up for it tonight. I can put in the hours after he goes to bed. Or, if my daughter, when she starts school, to go on a field trip, like I don't have a boss putting meetings on my calendar anymore. Like that is stressful, and obviously like we need amazing doctors and we need amazing nurses and all of those jobs too. But I just wanted something different. And so I'm so thankful. So that is my story. And just to kind of share really quickly about Beachbody, I'm already running over. Sorry, Annabelle. There's Shay. Shay's next. I'm like 8:20 is when I'll be done with my topic, and then Shay. But I'll make this part really fast. So for those of you who are on the call tonight and you're like, okay, that's amazing. That's a cool story. But what is Beachbody? Because I really don't understand. So Beachbody is a network marketing company. Don't let that scare you though. I was scared of that word too. I was like, no way. I was literally on everyone's target list. Like, when you feel like you're on people's target list and you're like, they really want me on their team. I was that girl for every network marketing company you could think of, like skincare, oils, all the things. Like I use a lot of those things. I love them, but I'm not passionate about them. Like I don't even wear makeup most days. So like, I don't have crazy skin. That's just not something I struggle with. So those are not things that I could get behind. But because I grew up in this town and I like know lots of people, it was like Caroline Foster. It was like everybody's list or something. So I was invited to every party, every interest thing, whatever. But this was just different for me because it was a lifestyle and it was just very different. So Beachbody has been around now for like 25 years. You probably remember Beachbody originally from P90X. So I don't know if you guys had that craze when I was in college, like everybody was doing ab ripper X. So Beachbody created P90X, Insanity. And so quick background story, Carl Deichler, our CEO, he was working with Tony Horton. Tony Horton was his personal trainer and he was kicking his booty. He was just like, man, you are getting me into shape. He's like, I wish we could film these workout videos and like get them into the hands of hundreds of people across the country so they can experience these. And so they're like, let's do it. So they came out with P90 and about 6-7 months into it, they're calling people and they're like, hey, how's the program going? What kind of results are you seeing? And they're like, most people were like, I haven't even taken it out of the box. Like they were watching these infomercials at 2:00 in the morning and eating donuts on the couch. And they're like, I should probably get fit and healthy. Buy it. You guys all remember like QVC, like those sorts of things. People just buy stuff. And so they're calling people and they're like, well, I haven't even taken it out of the box. And so then they realize like we kind of have a problem. People are buying this, which is great, but like they wanted to help people, like genuinely wanted to help people. So if people are not actually taking the workout out of the box and doing the workout and consistently showing up, then they've got nothing, right? And so that's when they decided to create coaching. They didn't need coaches necessarily, but they decided to create coaching. So they took a portion of the company and the earnings and basically are paying coaches now to help people get results. And so that is literally our job, is to help people. And that's what makes Beachbody different from other network marketing companies. Your job as a coach starts the moment they place their order. With other companies, it's like, oh, you order your skincare and like you might hear from your person, like, how are you liking it? But they don't really have to do much else, right? We as coaches, our job starts when they place that order, when they get that box in the mail, and we help them get the results they set out to get. And so that's kind of what Beachbody's about. That's kind of what we do as coaches. And so now I'm going to throw it over to Shay.
All right. Hey, y'all. My name is Shay. A little bit about me. I am from a small town in North Mississippi. So I am a wife. I've been married for a little over 2 years. No kiddos or anything. So I'm kind of in a different season. I liked how Caroline said how like Michelle was a season or two ahead of her, and like that's something that really like drew her to her. And like I can say the same thing because I look up to Caroline as a mentor, as a friend, and so it's just really cool to have somebody who is a few seasons ahead of you to kind of walk through life with you. But anyways, I also work full-time as a physical therapist, so I am in the hospital all day every day, and it has been absolutely crazy the last few months. But that's a little bit about me. I personally have always been into health and fitness and sports. I was super active through high school. That's actually where I was first introduced to Beachbody. Really, I didn't even know what Beachbody was, but I was introduced to Insanity my senior year of high school. Our basketball coach decided that we were going to do an Insanity workout after a 2-hour basketball workout, which was absolutely crazy. But that's where I was introduced to the programs and to Shanti. And so kind of as I graduated high school and kind of made my way into college, I cheered my first few years of college, so I was still involved, but I knew that I wanted a way to stay healthy and to care for myself. And so, of course, I remembered Shanti from basketball and all that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to look this person up. And I bought the Insanity tapes. And so literally for like 2 or 3 years, my first few years of college, I followed Shanti's program. So I bought Insanity, I bought an Asylum 2, like there's 3 or 4 programs that Shanti created over that span of a time. And so I followed those programs. Like I said, I didn't really know what Beachbody was. All I knew is I could get online, order these DVDs, have them sent to my house, and I was doing them in my parents' living room. I was doing them in my dorm room, and it was just something that worked for me. And I really started to just have a passion for exercise in a way that I never had before. And so, long story short, somehow along that time frame, I came across Caroline on social media. Have no idea how she popped up, or I have no idea how that happened, but I started following her, and it took me a little bit to realize, like, hey, she's doing some of the same programs I'm doing. And so I just started to follow along. And I think what really drew me to her and drew my interest in was how she combined faith and fitness. And so for me, my faith was a huge part of my life and who I was. And I knew that I wanted to just serve in some way, once I finished college, outside of just, sports and school. Like I knew I wanted something more. And for me, I kind of saw her doing that. And honestly, y'all, watching her journey and really starting to incorporate like my faith into my fitness journey completely transformed how I saw exercise, because I did go through the season, especially cheering in college, where like literally for tryouts, y'all, we had to go stand in sports bra and Spanx and have an image test. And like that can completely distort your view of exercise and what you think and how you eat and all of that. And so for me, that had really that was a struggle. And so as I start to see how she was living out her faith and her fitness, I really started to dig deep into that and really seek the Lord's guidance in my own fitness journey. And so, sometime along the way, I just really started feeling the Lord tugging at my heart, like, okay, maybe this is something you can do. Maybe this is something you can pursue. I had never talked to her. I didn't even know really about Beachbody. I just knew Shanti. I didn't have a clue that coaching was a thing, to be honest with you, until I, followed along for 3 years, fast forward 3 years, and I started to kind of figure this out a little bit, and felt that tug in my heart, but honestly gave myself every excuse why I couldn't do it. I was going through a doctorate program at the time. I was traveling for clinicals. I was planning a wedding. I was studying for a board exam. Like literally it was one thing after another. And then when I finally got past all that, it was a fear of like, what would other people say about me? Am I equipped to do this? I don't even know how to make an Instagram story. I didn't know any of that. I figured it out in the past year and a half, but I didn't know any of that. And I think it just came to this point where it's like, okay, like I know this is something the Lord's calling me to pursue. So I reached out, had that conversation, and really just decided to go all in, and haven't looked back since. Honestly, I never in a million years thought I would be right here. Even when I signed up to coach, I never thought that I would be leading one of these calls or like really like having a heart to lead other women. But the Lord can do a lot with a little bit of your own, like your surrender. And so, yeah, that's kind of a little bit about my story. I have been coaching for a year and a half now, like I said, while working full time. And so one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about tonight was what it looks like working this business full time, because I hear a lot of people say like, well, okay, she's a stay-at-home mama. And by the way, don't discredit that because they have a ton on their hands. Like, no, they might not be in the hospital, but like, you know, that's a whole job in itself. But, you know, aside from that, a lot of people talk about how, well, I have this and I have that. And I 100% get it. But something that I think is so important is showing up and being consistent and figuring out, like, why are you doing what you're doing? And surrendering that back to the Lord and just trusting that, like, hey, I'm going to give my best. I'm going to, you know, pray that he would just align my heart and my vision with his and what I'm doing. And I'm going to give the time I do have, but I'm going to trust him to do the rest. And that's really kind of what I've done in this process. And is it easy working full time and doing this? No, like I'm not going to look at y'all and say it's easy. It's hard work. It takes discipline. It takes really being intentional with the time that you have. I heard somebody talk about last week or they were like kind of challenging somebody to look at the time that they had in their day. And they're like, okay, for a week, I want you to literally write down every single thing you do, from eating breakfast to sitting on the couch to watching TV, like literally every detail. And in my mind, I was like, that's a bit obsessive. But as I was thinking back, I was like, that's actually a good thing to do, because then you look back and you're like, I can probably guarantee you that even if it's in pockets, you can pull out an hour of your day. You know, for me, that's what I do. I work a lot in pockets of my day, 10 minutes here, 30 minutes here. Sometimes I sit down for an hour. But the beauty of this business is it's super flexible, and you're able to take it and to weave it into your season of life, whatever that looks like. And sometimes it might be more time, sometimes it might be less, but that's the beauty of it, is you do what you can with the time that you have. But it does take being intentional, like I said, and being disciplined with that time. And some people are like, but I'd rather watch TV. And y'all, we're normal people. Like, we watch TV, we do fun things. But also, like, we just have this why that is so much larger. And so we make time for the things that really matter. And so just want to encourage y'all in that. And just remind y'all that it is 100% possible to do this. Something that helps me is just setting business hours. And so, like, this is something that, you know, and Caroline can probably speak more to this now because she has stepped away from her job, but we come into this and we lead our team in a way that we don't want you to come in and be obsessive about coaching. Like, this isn't supposed to just take over your life. It's supposed to create freedom in your life. And so, like, even for me, I don't have kids, but I still have to be intentional and set business hours and say, okay, I'm going to clock in and I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to clock out because I'm doing this hopefully one day, you know, later down the road, so I maybe can be home with my kids and my family more. And I don't want to neglect that now either. And so that's a little bit about what that looks like. And so just want to encourage you that this is something you can do all seasons, many different ways. Some people move faster than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's a little bit about that. One other thing I was going to talk about really quick, and then I'll pass it over to Anna Bay, is money, because we all know, like, that is the question. And I honestly get nervous talking about this because I think especially as a team of believers, like, we kind of shy away from that, and we're like, we don't come into this for the money. I think if you looked at anybody on our team, like, we didn't start this just to make money. Now, it has been a huge blessing in all of our lives in so many ways. And I truly believe, like, that the Lord has blessed the hard work that we've put in. But, you know, it's not about that. And so I think we shy away from talking about it. But at the end of the day, it's an awesome blessing and just an added bonus to doing something we love. And I'll say this too, you know, we have to kind of talk about this disclaimer and say that, you know, Beachbody doesn't guarantee any level of success. Like, they don't. Just like I said earlier, this business is hard. Like, you have to put in the work, but y'all, it is so fulfilling. Like, I literally was having a conversation with Caleb, my husband, at supper a while ago, and I was like, this just lights me up. Like, this fuels my passion. I love being a physical therapist. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I have an amazing job. I work with amazing people, but there's just something different about coaching that just, I don't know, it lights a fire inside of me. So yes, it's hard work, but it's also something that I find so much joy in. So I'm going off topic, but back to the money thing. You have to put in the hard work. You have to show up to, you know, just reap that harvest. So just wanted to say that, but there's a few things. I'm not going to go into the details about the money part because there's a lot that we could talk about, but basically what this looks like, how we make money as coaches is initially we make money off commission. So anything that we sell when we are, you know, signing people up, and like Caroline said, like, that is not our job. Yes, we bring people in, but our job really starts after that. But we're still making a commission off of that. So we get 25% of sales, and some things vary a little bit here and there, but that's the basics of it. And that's really what you're doing when you start off as a coach. You're really just getting people signed up. You're making that money off that. But what is so cool, and what I can testify about just in a year and a half of coaching, is as you start to really grow this business, as you start to bring on coaches who want to do this with you, that's when you really have the potential to start making some extra. So you're going to get commission first, but then as you get 2 people to run this with you, you start to make bonuses. It's called team cycle bonuses. I'm not going to go into the detail, but it's pretty much like free money, kind of. I mean, your team's working, you're working, but it's not direct sales on your part. And then, you know, as you move forward, and once you kind of get 2 really big business building coaches who want to run this race with you, you have the opportunity to start earning like cycle bonuses, quarterly bonuses, I'm sorry, is what I meant to say. And so there is so much potential. I mean, y'all heard Caroline say she has tripled her corporate income, and like, by no means was that easy for her. She put in the work, she showed up. But what's cool is we have such an amazing leader who has literally paved the path, and we have tools and resources to pass down to y'all to help, you know, like she said, like, if they can do it, why can't we? And that's kind of the attitude that I've approached. Like, yes, I might be working full time, and yes, it might take me longer, but who cares? Like, we can still do it. We just have to put in the work. And so that is basically how you make money. I want to make sure I didn't leave like anything big off of that. But like I said, you start with commission, and as you grow and as you find people to run this business with you, that really starts to grow, and you have the potential to do so much more. And like, I'm just going to share this with y'all. It's not something we talk about a lot, but I think is really cool. My first month as a coach, I made $50, and I was ecstatic about that. You know, I was like, yes, I'm paying for my products. I'm doing something. I'm not having to go and ask Caleb for $50 because I loved the products. And now I'm 18 months in, and I added it up a while ago, and I made $2,800 last month, which is amazing. Like, that's crazy. And it's all something that I'm doing that I love, that I'm passionate about. Like, it doesn't feel like a job. It's just a bonus. And so, like, I'm able to pay off my loans a little quicker. I'm able to give more and serve more and do more with that. And so, anyways, that is kind of the gist. I just wanted to share that with y'all and just remind y'all that no, we're not in this for money. That is not our hearts behind it, I can promise you. But we all have that question. What does it look like? How do we make money? Is this even real? And absolutely it is if you put in the hard work. So thank you all for listening. I'll give it to Anna Bay.
That was so good. Okay. Hi, I am Anna Bay. I always struggle when I say like where I'm from, because we're military, and so sometimes it takes me a minute to remember like where we're living now. So my husband and I have been married for, it will be 5 years next March, which is crazy. And like I said, we're military, we're Air Force. And so we recently moved to Colorado, but if you can't tell from my accent, I'm not from here. I'm from Alabama. We've lived in Pensacola, Florida, then Georgia, then here, and all of the things. And we have a 2-year-old little boy who is a 2-year-old little boy and keeps us on our toes. And I get to stay at home with him. And it is, it really is a joy. Just like Caroline said, it's, being able to stay at home with your kids and knowing that you don't have to miss anything is just the best feeling in the whole world. So a little bit about me and my story, it's a little different. So I was actually doing these programs. I've been doing these programs for almost 5 years, which just, I can't even believe. Well, actually, I think it's like 5 years now. I think October 1st will be 5 years, and I just can't believe it. So basically what happened with me was I grew up like the skinny, lanky kid that got made fun of because I was too skinny all the time, like go eat a cheeseburger, gosh, things like that. And so I never had a problem. I was always super active, was very involved with cheerleading and tennis and swimming and all the things. Didn't have to worry about it, ate terribly, your classic Southern low-income home, a lot of hamburger meat, a lot of hamburger helper, a lot of crescent rolls, those kinds of things. Never really had to worry about it until I did, until I got to college. And my senior year, it's when I met Keith. We got engaged after 5 months of dating. Okay, so like it can happen. And it was just that like happy wait. Like we were happy, we were in love, we were going, he was, so he's a year older than me, so he had already graduated. He was in Pensacola, Florida for training, for navigator training. And so he was making like real people money. And so we were going out to eat all the time, and boom, I gained 30 pounds in one summer. And I know that sounds extreme, but I swear it happened. I stepped on the scale and I thought it was broken. I looked at Keith and I said, this is not accurate. This is broken. This cannot be right. But it was very accurate. And he had even put on a lot of weight. And if you ever seen a picture of my husband, he is like, if I weigh less than him at any point, I'm doing good in life. So anyways, we had gotten engaged. I'm at my heaviest weight. We got engaged and I'm like, okay, I cannot start married life like this. This is not me. I don't even feel like this is who I am, getting married, all that kind of stuff. Tried to put on jeans because it started getting cool outside and they would not go past my thighs. And I sat in the floor of the closet and I just cried. And it really wasn't about the weight. It was just about the fact of, oh my gosh, Annabelle, you are not taking care of yourself. You are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You are emotionally eating. There's a lot of stuff going on with my family at that time. And I was just not being healthy. I wasn't taking care of myself at all. And so I came across a Facebook ad of some random girl, it wasn't Caroline, that was running a sweating for the wedding challenge group. I didn't know what Beachbody was. I knew what Insanity was because everyone knew what Insanity was, but I didn't know what Beachbody was. I didn't know that coaches were a thing. I didn't know anything. All I saw was, do you want to lose 15 pounds before your wedding? And I said, yep, and clicked on it and had no idea what I was signing up for. Back then I got 21 Day Fix DVDs because Beachbody On Demand was not a thing. I got a bag of Shakeology. I got Portion Fix, not Ultimate Portion Fix because it wasn't as advanced. 2B Mindset wasn't a thing. So bare minimum, we could not really afford it. We were moving to Georgia. He was about to go off to training for a month, all kinds of things. But so we put it on a credit card, but I just knew in my heart, like, I needed to do something for myself. And I fell in love with these programs. I lost 10 pounds in the first month just from going a 180 on the way that I was eating, actually fueling my body properly, doing these 30-minute workouts at home. It was a stress relief for me with my husband, or at the time fiance, being in the middle of the woods, not being able to talk to him for a week at a time. I just fell in love with these programs and taking care of myself. But once again, was not thinking about coaching, didn't even really know it was a thing. Not even close, not even on my radar. Well, fast forward 3 years, gotten married, lost 45 pounds. Of course, after a year of marriage, got pregnant because that's what happens when you're in your best shape. And now you can hear my 2-year-old screaming. Welcome to motherhood. It's only, what time is it? 7:45 here, so we're a little early. So he's about to go to bed now. But anyways, got pregnant, had him. Decided that I really wanted to stay at home. I was actually in grad school when I got pregnant for substance abuse counseling. I had a psychology degree. I was going to do that, but quickly realized that being a military wife and being a counselor and having to get recertified every time you move to a new state does not really work out very well. And it sounded very stressful to me, and having to learn new state rules and all of that kind of stuff every 2 to 3 years. And I still didn't think I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but when I had Sawyer, it just hit me like I don't want to miss anything, and if I can, I will. So he was about 10 months old when like everyone probably says, Caroline just showed up on my Instagram. I don't know how she got there. I don't even remember adding her. She just was there. And I was watching her workouts. I was stalking, normal people stuff. And I realized, like, okay, I'm pretty sure she's doing the same workouts as me. So I even vote. I don't even know if you remember this, Caroline, but I voted on your polls a couple times and then just ghosted you. I was like, wait, never mind. I don't want to do that. Never mind. And
That's
I
amazing.
just kept saying, nope, I don't want to do that. But I think that's really cool what she's doing. And I started noticing, wait, she's talking about Jesus. Can you do that? Can you talk about Jesus and fitness at the same time? Is that a thing? No, I did. Never seen somebody do that before. And so, God starts knocking on my heart, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing MLMs. My sister does an MLM. It's obnoxious. I don't want any part of that. It's scammy. It's gross, blah, blah, blah. All the things that we've all thought at some point. Everyone thought it. And God just would not leave me alone. And I don't say that lightly. Seriously, it would keep me awake at night. And it was around Christmas time, because I'm that weird person who signs up at Christmas. Who does that? Nobody. And I'm sitting on the couch with Keith, and I'm just like, okay, I keep stalking this girl. I think I pull her up every single day. I'm getting a little creepy about it. And I just really, really like what she does. And at this point, I'm struggling with postpartum depression. I'm struggling with that. I want to stay at home with my son. But I also, because I was in counseling, y'all, I had that desire to help people. I had that desire to watch people break chains from addiction and stressors and things like that. Has always been, that's something that God knitted into my DNA. That will always be there. And I wanted a way to do that, but I also wanted to stay at home. And I thought that I was asking too much to be able to do both. And Keith is marketing guy. He worked for Coke in college, so he really is the most supportive husband when it comes to stuff like this. And he said, Anna, same thing like Caroline with Brian. He's like, just message her. What's the worst that can happen? Is she really going to tell you, no, I don't want you on my team? Just message her, ask her, just see what it's about. So I did. Reluctantly. I was really nervous about it. And I remember it took you over a day to message me back. And I was like, she didn't message me back. She doesn't like me. She doesn't want me on her team. This isn't meant to happen. And so, of course, she finally messages me back. We hop on a call. I ended that call in tears, because I truly felt okay, God, I know you've been bugging me about this. This is where I'm meant to be. And it's been amazing ever since. And I know that's what everyone says. I know it's super cliche, but this whole experience has been an answer to prayer in so many ways. I prayed for so long for a community, and y'all, that's hard when you're military. That's hard in general. Girls are mean, even as adults. It's hard to find your tribe. That's a hard thing to do. But especially when you're moving, and even if you're not moving, they're moving. And it's just hard. And I had just given up. I had given up on having that constant support system in my life. We're not close to family. It's hard. And this was that answer to that prayer. Was God said, not only am I going to give you a new purpose, and I'm going to give you a way to fulfill that desire to help other people, but I'm also going to give you some incredible women in your life. And I will get emotional about it, because these women have prayed for me through, we moved across country in the middle of a pandemic. We needed lots of prayer, a lot of prayer. And these women were the first people that I told when we finally got a house after 8 houses of putting in offers. And they all cried with me. They did. Caroline sent me a video of crying, because they just celebrated with us and were praying for us. And I would have not expected that. If you would have told me that 2 years ago, that I was going to have this kind of community, I would have been like, there's no way. So sorry, I'm getting on a rant, well, at least before commenting about it, but it really has just been such an incredible blessing financially. Like Shay said, we don't like to talk about money, because that's not why we do it. But it has been the fact that I can contribute to my family, and I can, buy all my son's cute clothes and not feel guilty about it anymore, because it's a slight obsession for me. He dresses in all the smocks, and I will not apologize for it. Things like that, just being able to contribute, I've worked since I was 13. So that was really hard for me, having to depend on my husband. So that, and having this community and having something for myself, it's made me a better mom. It's made me a better wife. It's made me a better person. I would not be able to get on this call and talk like this a year and a half ago. I've been way too nervous, not confident in myself. And so just to see how God has used that in the last year and a half in every way, just my relationship with him and just having a community that encourages me to get up and get my devotional done and spend time with Jesus before I do anything else in the morning. I didn't have friends like that 2 years ago. So yeah, sorry, that was really long-winded, but it has just been absolutely incredible. And I'm so thankful that I messaged Caroline that night, because if I wouldn't have, I would be missing out on so much, and my life would not even look similar to this. So super, super thankful for that. Okay, so what am I supposed to be talking about? I'm supposed to be talking about, what makes our team different? Okay, I love talking about this. This is my favorite subject to talk about, because you are going to come across so many Beachbody coaches. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of teams and Beachbody coaches. So if you're going to do this, you want to know what's different about your team, right? And the thing that I always tell people when they ask is, our faith runs so deep in this team, and it's not something that we use as an advertisement. It's not something, we don't use Jesus as a come hang out with us type of thing. That's not, and then when you really get to know us, you're like, oh wow, that's not what I expected. It runs so deep. Like Caroline said, her upline now runs She Works His Way, which is a huge organization that helps women run their businesses with a holy hustle and putting God in the center. It's so deep in our business, you're never gonna find an upline that doesn't run their business in that way. And that's so important. It's important that your whole team rallies around together. And in that same sense, we do rally together. We rally together to create amazing resources for our people. And I didn't know that I wasn't normal until I'll post something, and then I get other coaches from other teams be like, wait, do you really give that to your girls? Yeah, do y'all not have that? No. They don't have, like email templates to help them be able to send that information for their people, or, things for their groups every month, or things that we rally together to do. And so that way our girls can focus on the most important thing, and that's relationships. And we try to take care of all the rest for you, so that way you can just focus on what's important. And that's apparently not normal. I didn't know that until a couple of months ago when I started getting messages. And just things like that. And just the way that we, like I said, we put God in the center. If we're not focused on him, and we're not focused on, if we're not sharing Christ with people, we're not doing this the right way. And that is through and through into our heart behind this. And so that is the biggest thing that makes us different, is that we are not striving for worldly goals. We're striving for godly goals. And yes, hitting ranks is awesome. Matching her income, tripling her income, and being able to quit her job. All of that is amazing. But at the end of the day, if people don't know what we're about, none of it matters. None of it matters. And we stand to that. And you will never find somebody in our team who doesn't stand to that. So it's so, so important to us. And so to me, that's the biggest thing that makes us different, is that we will not ever veer from that. Ever. Doesn't matter what shiny thing is ahead of us and tempting us. It doesn't matter. So to me, that's what makes us the most different. The other thing is, what makes a great coach? You're looking at us and, like we've already told you, anyone can do this. But even me, when I first started, I'm like, yeah, cool, but can I really do that? Like, what do I have to do to be like that? What do I have to do to be successful? What do I have to do to influence people in that way? And y'all, the biggest thing is just not giving up. That's the biggest thing that I can say. And Caroline said this to me whenever we first had our coach call, is like, if you promise to be here in a year, then you will see fruit from this business. If you will just not give up on yourself, and you won't stand in the way of God and let him do his thing, then you will see success in this business. The only different from people who you see making those stupid videos, I'm sorry, but stupid videos of like, why Beachbody is a scam. I can't. And the people who are like, you see living their best lives and retiring their husbands and getting to stay at home with their kids, the only difference is that these people didn't quit. That's the only difference. It's not that they were scammy. It's not that they had to like wiggle their way. It's not that they took advantage of their people. This is not a pyramid scheme. You cannot take advantage of your people. That's not how this works. You genuinely have to be a good coach, and you genuinely have to help your people in order to see the fruit yourself. But the only difference is that these people quit because it didn't work overnight, and they got impatient, and these people stuck to it. And honestly, that is the only thing, is being willing to learn, being willing to do the work, and just being consistent and being willing to show up every day, even when it's hard. Like, we all have had our things this past year. Caroline had a baby a year ago. Shay works full time in the medical field with COVID. Hello. We moved across country. I mean, we didn't have a home. I felt like we were homeless for like 2 months. We were in TLF. If you don't know what TLF is, it's like temporary housing for military. It's not fun. Would not recommend it. Okay. 1 out of 5 stars. We lived with family for a little while. We were moving across country in a hotel in the middle of COVID, all of that. And I still showed up because, like Shay said, our why is so much bigger. We're totally normal people. I still watch Netflix with my husband after Sawyer goes to bed, but I just make sure I get my stuff done during the day. So that way, whenever Sawyer goes to bed, I can spend time with my husband, just like every other normal person. I don't have to worry about it. We just make it a priority. And that's what keeps us consistent. That's what keeps us here. And that's what keeps us seeing success. And we're all going to be at different rates. Caroline, Shay, me and Shay started around the same time. We're seeing different rates of success. That's okay. And we're all going to get there. It just at a different pace. But it's just not giving up, being willing to learn, not giving up, and just really diving into the community and being willing to let God use this in different ways. Like, it's not all going to look the same for all of us, but being willing to say, okay, God, this is yours. I don't know how you want to use it, but just letting him use it in whatever way he has planned for you. That's what's going to make you a great coach, honestly. And I know that's not going to be every team's answer, because that's not a priority for every team. But for us, that's how we see success is, okay, when we pray about it and we give it to God, it's like, wow, okay, God, I see you now. I'm sorry I wasn't giving it to you 2 months ago, but I'm giving it to you now. And now I see it. But that's, to me, the biggest thing about being a great coach is just being consistent, being willing to love on people, not focusing on the money, and just focusing on loving on people and sharing Christ, because that's the biggest thing that we can do anyway. So, okay, I'm going to step off my pedestal now. That's all I got.
So let's talk about next steps really quick. And I promise you guys.
Oh, I was supposed to talk about that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's totally fine. I don't mind at all. So first of all, Shay and Anna Bay, you guys are amazing. And I was literally like tearing up during that, because it's just so cool hearing everyone's stories. And obviously, like, I've heard their stories a million times, but it just never gets old. Because, you know, one big thing for me is, like, I left my job in February, and for the first few months, I really struggled with, like, what's going to keep me going. Like, I've kind of reached my ultimate goal, you know, and I realized, like, my next big goal is, like, continuing to help my coaches hit their big goals. And I think that has just been something that's fueled me, and, like, just gets me so excited to hear their stories and what God's doing, and to kind of have a front row view of all of it, and watch it play out. But if you're on this call tonight and you're like, you know, hey, I'm listening to these, I definitely feel a call to say yes and put my yes on the table and sign up. I would kind of encourage you guys 3 things. Number 1, make sure that you really pray about it. I think I'm speaking for every single coach on our team. We are about quality coaches over quantity. We don't need, you know, we're not going to take on 90 people this month. We want to take on, you know, the people that God's calling us to. And we want to make sure that the people are ready to work and ready to be consistent, and they know what they're going to be getting. We never want someone to step into coaching and be surprised by how much work it takes. We want to be really upfront with you guys that, like, this is starting a business. Like, it literally is starting a business. It's just, you know, you don't have to do any of the marketing or any of the stuff that stinks. Trust me, I've started a couple businesses, and it's very hard. But this is much easier in the sense that you get to do the fun part. You get to do the marketing, you get to do the building of relationships, you get to help people get results. But it is going to take work, and you're not going to see quick success just like you do in your health and fitness journey. You show up every day, right? Like you're not going to drop 20 pounds in a week, but it's going to take consistent steps over time. And so we really want you to pray about it and make sure that this is the right decision for you. The second thing is we really want you to come into this saying, you know what, if I say yes, I'm committing a year. We don't have a contract that we make people sign. We're not going to be like, hey, here you go, write it in blood. But we want you to kind of verbally make that commitment to us, just because we put in a lot of time. I mean, you guys here, like if we bring on coaches, we pour a ton of time into what we do. We have a new coach mentorship that's 3 weeks long that we've made tons of videos for. We have one-on-one calls. We do weekly check-ins. Like we have so many things to help you be successful. But if we're saying like yes to this, then obviously it's taking away time from our family or doing things that we're also called to do within our businesses. And so we just want to make sure that if we say yes and bring you on, that you're committed to the ups and downs, because I know those are going to come. Because businesses, like growth in a business, I can tell you guys over 6.5 years, my growth in my business has been like this, right? It's not been this like straight up, right? There's been days that have been and weeks that have been like, oh, where are you, God? Like, this is exhausting. I'm frustrated. I'm getting a lot of no's. I feel like no one wants to join me, but then, and when I push through and just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, then something happens and it's like, oh, okay. Like, so it's going to be like that. I don't care what business it is, like any business is going to be that way. And so just knowing that it's going to be that way, but if you've committed that year, it's a lot easier to push through. And so I would say first, really pray about it. Second thing, make sure that you're really ready to commit to that year. And third, I think just obviously like if you're married or anything like that, making sure that you and your spouse are on the same page. We believe in marriage, and we really want to make sure that you're doing something that is beneficial to your family. I just know that, if your husband isn't excited about it and he's not on board, it's a whole lot harder to be successful because it really is like, even though you're the face and you're doing the work, it's your business together in a lot of ways. And so that would just be my third thing, is just like really making sure that your spouse is on board and excited for you in this and going to support you. So those are the 3 things that we would really encourage you guys just to think about before you say yes. But if you're like, okay, those 3 things, check the box, you really feel like God's calling you to do this, just reach out to your upline. Yes, Annabelle made an amazing document for hubbies just to read over it, because I know like money talks with men. Let's be real. They want to know, like, we're like, oh, community and friends. And guys are like, okay, and how much is this going to cost us? And how are you going to make money? And how much money are you going to make? And how quickly? Like all the questions, right? Because that's just how their brains work. So we have actually a call that we recorded where Annabelle and her husband and me and Brian talked, so y'all could watch that, or we have a document that Keith made. So reach out to your upline or whoever invited you to this call, get that from them if you want to watch it with your husband. I think that's really beneficial. And then so that's there. But if you're wondering how you go about signing up, if you're already a challenger, you can actually sign up for free if you've already purchased a challenge pack before. So you'll reach out to your upline, just let them know, and essentially you'll sign up, and then you'll fill out a reimbursement form for the cost of the sign up fee. So it's $40 to sign up, but if you've purchased that challenge pack, that gets waived and they'll reimburse you for that. If you are brand new and you're like, okay, I know nothing about Beachbody, like I don't have any of the things, you'll sign up with a challenge pack just like a customer would. The challenge pack comes with a year of Beachbody on demand, a month's supply of either Shakeology or the Performance line, which is Energize and Recover. It also comes with our 2 nutrition programs, which, by the way, if you bought those like by themselves, they're $70 a piece, and you're getting both of those in a challenge pack, plus like shaker bottles, portion control containers, bod ropes, like all these things for $160. And then, so that's how you would sign up. And when you pay that $160, you also get that $40 coach fee waived. So it's an amazing deal. Like I was talking to some girls today who are over here, my college small group, and they pay like $150 a month to go to the gym. I'm like, and one pays $60, but I'm still like, well, my option is the cheapest because it's $160 for an entire year. And I got Shakeology and this and that. So But yeah, so amazing deal. Get that $40 fee waived. And then after that, it's just going to cost you $50 a month to remain a coach. That $50, that basically keeps you active. So you just have to make sure that every single month you either buy or sell $50 worth of products a month. And obviously, if you're saying yes to this, we want for you guys to be a product of the product. We want you to be using the products. You can't sell something that you don't personally use. So hopefully that's not an issue. Our goal is to help you pay yourself back that first month. Like you guys heard from Shay, like she made $50 that first month. So she was able to break even. I personally don't even like the $50 a month never bothers me because I'm like, I would be using these products anyway. Like I'm sure all of us have gone to GNC and bought Whey or, some kind of pre-workout or something. So to me, it's just replacing things that like I probably would have already bought. And you'll get 25% off all your products that you purchase. So that's kind of the download. So if you are ready to sign up, reach out to your upline and they will get you all set up. We have a whole funnel of things that we will plug you into. If you sign up, you will first off work through a Google form. It's kind of like a checklist that teaches you everything on the Beachbody side of things. And then we will set up a one-on-one call with you to do a getting started right call, just to walk through a PowerPoint that's kind of about our team, who we are, our mission statement, that kind of thing. And we'll go over your first goals for you as a coach. And then we'll get plugged into our team page, introduce you there, plug you into like our morning Zoom workouts and our team calls and our action hours and all the things. And then after that, we will plug you into our new coach mentorship. It starts on the first Monday of every month. So the next round will start a week from this Monday. And there's Sawyer. Such a cutie. It'll start a week from this Monday. So this is perfect timing. If you decide to jump in, take a few days, pray about it, all that good stuff. If you decide to jump in, then we can plug you guys into that new coach mentorship, which is amazing. We just had our first round of graduates graduate from that like last week, and every single one of them raved about it and said it was a game changer. So I think you guys are going to love it. So that is the deal. So let us know. Does anybody have any questions really quick before we kind of hop off here? Well, hopefully I will see some of you guys in our team page in the coming weeks. And we're so excited. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us on Instagram. If maybe you want to ask a specific question to Shay or someone that wasn't the person that invited you, feel free to DM us. We are open books. There's no secrets here. I will tell you anything and everything you want to know. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the team page. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and thank you so much for being on.